Hi, everybody, and welcome to my new YouTube series, Autoimmune Questions. So this is going to start out more with me just talking about questions that I've gotten from patients. But as time goes on, I encourage you to leave your questions in the comments below. And if there's any particularly good ones, I will try to make the time to answer your own questions. Now, I can't get into specifics of your case of like, hey, I have disease X, Y, and Z, what should I do? But if you have a general question that would be useful for other autoimmune people to know, I really encourage you to leave them here and I'll see if I can't add it to this playlist. But I wanted to do a quick introduction video before I actually get into the first question. And that is to tell you a teeny bit about me and where I'm coming from on this. So first and foremost, I have autoimmune stuff. I say that because I'm kind of in a weird limbo. I diagnosed both of my conditions before they were officially diagnosed. So I have the antibodies for celiac disease, the transglutaminase antibodies. And at the time when I caught that on blood work that I ran on myself, um, I decided, and I still would to this day, I decided that was good enough for me. I reacted horribly to gluten and I didn't need to proceed with the endoscopy and the biopsy and the whole 9 yards to get the official celiac label. So I consider myself to be a celiac. I tell people I'm a celiac, but I haven't actually gotten the official diagnosis. So I'm kind of in a weird limbo. My other autoimmune thing that I've got going on, and I'm not going to call it a disease yet, is I have the marker for type 1.5 diabetes or latent autoimmune diabetes in adults. It's basically type 1 diabetes, but it hits you later in life. And it usually hits you somewhere in your 30s. When I researched this, when I first came across that, there was about a 95% chance of being diagnosed within 5 years of catching these GAD antibodies. And that was about 9 years ago that I caught that on myself. And so far, so good. Blood sugar is still doing okay. I make it a point to not chew up my pancreas too much. So I've got to keep my infections and autoimmunity and inflammation under control because I don't want to go on insulin. So that's my autoimmune status. Is I consider myself to have one condition, though I never got appropriately diagnosed, and I was one step away from having another condition, but I actually halted that one before it progressed into the full-blown overt disease. Um, I have autoimmune disease in my family. My mom has Hashimoto's, rheumatoid arthritis, and an autoimmune eye disease that's very rare called pemphigoid. My grandmother also had pemphigoid and most likely had Hashimoto's. Her mother had rheumatoid arthritis. So I see this lineage in my my maternal side of the family with all this autoimmunity, and I think that's what in part got me into this line of work. So I'm a chiropractor and a nutritional therapy practitioner, and I work an awful lot with autoimmune folks. And it's not easy work. It would be a whole heck of a lot easier if I could just manipulate spines all day. But it's so fulfilling when you get somebody whose antibodies are through the roof and then you get them back down. Or you get somebody, with Graves' disease who had T3 of like 9 point something and now they're back down in the normal range. So it's very fulfilling work, but I'm going to get into that a little bit more as we go on, but I'm going to get into some of the questions I've heard patients ask and some things that I've seen in forums and on the internet. And I'm going to give you my 2 cents on this, keeping in mind that this is my 2 cents and maybe your doctor or your functional medicine person, they might have a little bit of a different take. I'm not saying that I'm always right about everything, but this is from my experience both personally managing my mom's health and my patients, what I've seen and what I think are reasonable expectations with autoimmune disease and what what your progression can look like if you do things quote unquote right. So enjoy the new series and I'll see you out there.